Trump wins big again, and this time the fake news media is in serious trouble. Before we break this video down, do us a favor, like, comment, and share Explain America. You help us expose the truth with common sense journalism, and the fight is just getting started. Now here's the story. The Pulitzer board just took a direct hit from a Florida appellate court, and President Trump is calling it one of the most important legal victories yet in his battle against media corruption. Now you heard the phrase, Russia, 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 but what if the people who pushed the hoax were rewarded for it? And even more important, what if the courts are finally starting to hold them accountable? In a major ruling this week, the Florida appellate court rejected the Pulitzer board's attempt to delay Trump's lawsuit against them. This lawsuit targets the Pulitzer's awards to the New York Times and the Washington Post for their false, malicious, and now debunked reporting on the Trump's Russia collusion hoax, which was defined by years of media hysteria and in some ways very much hindered the first Trump presidency. Trump celebrated the news on Truth Social. Quote, "They won a Pulitzer Prize for totally incorrect reporting. Now they admit it was a scam. They'll have to give back their reward. We are holding the fake news media responsible for their lies to the American people," unquote. So his lawsuit is moving forward, and it is personal. Trump isn't just suing the Pulitzer board. He's naming names, targeting the actual board members and staff who stood by while the media cashed in on one of the biggest lies in modern history. Let's be clear. These Pulitzers weren't given for uncovering truth. They were handed out to reward deep state leaks, anonymous sources, and to manufacture hysteria. The Mueller report didn't find any solid evidence of Trump-Russia collusion. The Durham report revealed it was a political setup. Yet the media still holds these awards like they're badges of honor. Let's look at what won them these Pulitzers. Stories portraying normal transition contacts between Flynn, Kushner, and Russian diplomats as some sinister plot without evidence. A full-blown scandal over a Trump Tower meeting that turned out to be a dead end. A dossier funded by Hillary Clinton's campaign pumped through the FBI, and then the press, without ever verifying a single explosive claim, touted this as some sort of evidence of Russian collusion, and it was used for 2 FISA renewals on Trump's campaign staff. $100,000 worth of Russian Facebook ads treated as some election-changing event, despite $81 million being spent by the campaigns in this election cycle. An obsession with innuendo over evidence, treating Papadopoulos' bar chatter as an act of espionage. Report after report based on anonymous sources, later proven to be false or flimsy or absolutely irrelevant, and none of it proved that Donald Trump was a traitor to the Russians. It was an absolutely absurd hoax from the very beginning. There was very little evidence of it, but the media took with it and ran. Why? Because Donald Trump wanted to install an American first agenda, unleash energy, restore the economy, get unemployment down, get inflation under control, secure the border. This is all against the globalist agenda, and that's what it's really all about. The United States has been a target of the deep state for decades, and Trump was one of the first presidents to pose a significant threat to the swamp. And so they mobilized all of their assets in the media who depend on deep state sources and were leveraged to put out this mockingbird media hit job on the President of the United States. Remember, he was impeached twice. The first one was absolutely bogus, and it had to do with the Ukraine phone call over a supposed quid pro quo. Well, it turned out he was just trying to investigate Joe Biden's dealings in Ukraine, which are absolutely corrupt and much worse than anything that Donald Trump ever did with Russia. Okay? So the New York Times, they have a history of blatantly misleading the American people. One precedent, in 1932, a Pulitzer was awarded to New York Times writer Walter Duranty for covering up Stalin's genocide in Ukraine. Despite overwhelming evidence he lied, the board still refuses to revoke that Pulitzer Award. Now history threatens to repeat itself, but Trump is fighting back. This isn't just about awards, it's about accountability to the media. For years, the corporate press ran a psychological operation on the American people. They convinced half the country the president was a Russian asset, when in fact it was a political smear born from the Clinton campaign and fueled by media complicity. And the Pulitzer board, they crowned it with prestige. Well, now they can start getting nervous. The court ruled there's no constitutional conflict preventing this case from going forward. And that's a problem for every media executive, editor, and award recipient that wants to continue to lie about a president of the United States, believing that there are no consequences. Now, this ruling opens the door to depositions, discovery, subpoenas, and potentially consequences for the big lies that divided a nation. Trump says the Pulitzers must be returned, and frankly, he's right. If we're ever going to restore trust in the media and protect our democratic institutions from disinformation, it starts with holding these frauds accountable. That's what the lawsuit is about. So the question now isn't if the Times and the Post will give it back, it's whether they'll be forced to. This has been Kyle Becker with Explain America. Please comment and like and share if you're tired of the media lying to your faces and ready to see some accountability for the fake news media's deception and lies.